The Senate leadership, while insisting that arresting officers stay out of the Senate premises, also chided Trillanes on Friday on the same grounds. In a text message, Senate President Tito Sotto tells Trillanes not to abuse the liberty and hospitality accorded to him to camp out in his office. Sotto also ordered the senator to limit his visitors, especially since there's no work in the Senate on the weekend. In a strongly worded statement, Sotto warns Trillanes against testing his leniency by tolerating unruly behavior of his supporters and disrespecting the Senate as an institution. A disappointed Sotto is also banning any mass action, even the holding of a religious gathering in the Senate. Earlier Friday, Trillanes told reporters he would spend the weekend in the Senate building to talk to more supporters and consult his lawyers, preparation for his court hearing next week. This despite an assurance from Malacanang he will not be arrested without a warrant from a civilian court. David Santos, CNN Philippines.
So what's going on in the armed forces and the National Police front? The two agencies that President Duterte had earlier expected would arrest Trillanes. The Defense Department and armed forces have been quiet about Trillanes' amnesty for 2 days now. And in a brief statement today, they also refused to talk about the case since the issue is now with the Supreme Court. What is clear is that the military is forming a court-martial to hear Trillanes' case involving alleged violations of the Articles of War when he was still in the Navy. This means they stand by their earlier statements that a court-martial has jurisdiction over Trillanes since the alleged offenses were committed when he was still a soldier. Presidential son Paulo Duterte files libel charges against Trillanes before the prosecutor's office in Davao City. Duterte says the senator accused him and his family of corruption and extortion in a radio interview on September 8 last year, which was full of malice but has no basis. The presidential son's brother-in-law, Attorney Man Scarpio, also filed a separate libel case against Trillanes. Solicitor General Jose Calida dares Trillanes to leave the Senate premises so authorities can arrest him. Calida says he's ready to defend the presidential proclamation voiding Trillanes' amnesty. On Tuesday, Calida refused to confirm he prepared the document invoking lawyer-client privilege. The Solicitor General is the government's lawyer.
Nagtago siya sa Senate. Nabubuisit na yung mga kasama niya because parang became a sarswela na doon sa Senate. Kung isog siya, magawas siya. Yan ang challenging him. Magawas ka kung isog ka. Akala niya siya lang matapang dito sa mundo. I challenge him, get out of the Senate and we will arrest you.
In a surprising turnaround after insisting a presidential proclamation voiding Senator Antonio Trillanes' amnesty was enough to arrest him, Malacanang is backing down. Presidential spokesman Harry Roque announced from Jordan that President Duterte had decided to wait for either of two regional trial courts in Makati to issue an arrest warrant against the senator. He said a cabinet meeting was called in part because at least two secretaries had asked to speak to the president about the Trillanes situation. Yesterday, Special Assistant to the President Bongo said security was the topic of the meeting and not Trillanes.
Hapon po, binibigyan ko ng kumpirmasyon na nagkaroon po ng pagpupulong si Presidente sa lahat po ng gabinete na sumama sa biyaheng ito. Pinag-usapan po nila kung ano ang magiging posisyon ng administrasyon tungkol po dito sa pag-revoke ng amnesty kay Senator Trillanes. At matapos po ang mahabang talakayan, nag-desisyon ng Presidente that he will abide with the rule of law. Aantayin po niya ang desisyon ng hukuman ng Regional Trial Court kung sila ay mag-i-issue ng warrant of arrest. So ulitin ko po, ang desisyon ng Presidente is he will allow the judicial process to proceed and he will await the issuance of the appropriate warrant of arrest, if there is indeed one to be issued, before Senator Trillanes is arrested and apprehended.
The Justice and Defense Departments had said in the hours following the release of Proclamation 572 that the military and police could arrest Trillanes with a document. Soon after that, government prosecutors asked a Makati Regional Trial Court that had earlier tried him for attempted coup d'etat and then dismissed the case to issue an alias warrant and a hold departure order. But the judge, Andres Soriano, merely scheduled the hearing for next Thursday and ordered Trillanes to comment on the very urgent ex parte motion.
The proper courts would be the proper venue.
Sir, matagal na kayo sa politics. Pwede ba talaga na i-revoke ang grant na amnesty sa isang rebel?
It is within the power of the President.
So walang pag-abuse sa pag-exercise ng power? May concurrence dapat ng Congress. May concurrence dapat ng Congress.
Walang nakalagay sa konstitusyon na gano'n.
So yun sa pagbawi, silence?
Oo, silent. Sa pagbawi, wala. Even sa agreements sa treaties, wala rin. Silent din eh.
Pero sir, yung pagkuha nyo ng custody, sabi kasi ni Senator Trillanes, he is under your custody. Yung pagkuha
Parang he has turned over his person to the Senate President.
And yun, sir, yung inyong directive na huwag siyang arrestin dito, ibig sabihin mo ba you agree na questionable yung pagpapa-arrest sa kanya, sir?
Hindi ganun yun. I'd rather be neutral in that respect. Who am I to judge whether there is legal basis or not?
They're claiming
I cannot-
warrantless arrest, sir.
So bakit, sir?
Kaya nga, I cannot be a judge of that. The proper courts will be the judge of that.
So sorry,
Not me.
pa-clarify lang po. So bakit, sir, bakit ito kinustody si Senator?
No, it's not precisely taking custody. No, that is how it eventually na lumalabas na gano'n. Pero ang sinasabi ko, ang order is a senator cannot be arrested within the Senate premises. So if Senator Trillanes wants to remain in the Senate premises, then the instructions to the Sergeant at Arms is that he cannot be arrested.
So whether the Congress is in session or not in session, hindi siya pwedeng pasukin dito.
Oo.
So you expect the PNP po to respect the Senate building?
I think so.
The building itself?
Pero hindi sila allowed, sir, na pumasok.
I think so.
Hindi kaya
To use the Senate as refuge, sir.
As a what?
refuge.
Alam mo, you're looking at it as a glass half empty. Hindi ganun eh. Basta the situation is simply we cannot allow a senator to be arrested in the Senate premises. Pwedeng, kung gusto, unless the senator voluntarily goes with them, like in the case of Senator De Lima before. Nandito siya, hindi naman siya inaresto eh. Nung lumabas siya, umuwi siya muna, pinayagan siyang umuwi muna, at para kumuha ng gamit, tapos doon siya inaresto.
Practically, sanctuary itong Senate for Senator Trillanes.
Well, you can look at it that way, ganun ang tingin ng iba, but as I said, no, very specific yung sinabi ko.
Pero sir, na-coordinate na yun properly sa mga authorities na nandito sa arresting him?
Well, you'd better ask the Sergeant at Arms. The instructions that I gave him was very explicit.
Dapat pala sir, nagawa din ni De Lima yun.
Ginawa niya. Ginawa niya for a night. For the night, yeah.
Pero sir, hindi naman to attack sir against the Senate as an institution kasi nga pangalan senador niya.
No, not at all. No, I don't think so. Not at all.
So individual.
Merong mga prerogatives ang executive eh. May mga prerogatives ang legislative. No. So we're just exercising, we are just exercising our prerogatives. The President is exercising his prerogative. The Senate also is exercising its
Sir, kung
prerogative.
mag-decide si Trillanes na umalis ng Senate building, wala na kayong jurisdiction doon?
Siyempre, wala na kaming ano doon. It's no longer our concern.
Sir, clarification lang. When you said that the President has the power to remove amnesty, bakit ito nasabi?
It's within his power.
Wala po kasi
As the President.
din po kasi yung Constitution.
Better they ask the courts about that, but definitely it's within his power.
Pero definitely sir, sa tagal nila sir ng mambabatas, ay ito yung first time na may nare-revoke na amnesty.
I'm not sure. Ang institutional memory ko is as far as the Senate is concerned.
Pero wala kayong nare-recall pa sir na
Wala pang nare-recall. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Pero considering na siya from the minority at critic ng administration, do you think it has something to do sa pagiging niya opposition, sir?
I'd rather not, I'd rather not venture into speculation.
So bakit hindi niya na lang siya pinayuhan to mag-yield sa authorities, surrender?
No, we can't. We leave it up to the senator to decide.
So magkukokus kayo about sir, lahat ng senador?
Yeah, lahat.
So habang nandito, allowed siya mag-attend ng lahat ng activities sa
Habang
Senate?
nandito siya sa Senate premises. Pero pag-uusapan nga namin yung maaaring maging mga limitations.
Limitation.
Okay.
All right, Tito Sotto, the Senate President, confirming, first of all, that Senator Trillanes has, quote, turned over his person to the Senate President. Parang ganoon. That's the exact quote that we got from Tito Sotto.